All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do root well. Elders, bishops, and apostles, excuse me, all right, that do root well. And I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, to the hopeful elected in 1/3, and Adon Ratazah. This lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, and the Wadi Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash for giving me the inspiration to do this lesson. And as the title reads, hey, Edom, if our fathers, how much more yours? Okay, and let me actually add the S into that and make it plural, okay, not just singular. All right, and I spelled Edom. All right, emphasizing the D-U-M-B, which is not the correct way to spell Edom biblically, which is E-D-O-M. But, sometimes in the past, we've had videos flagged for certain keywords, which proves Esau's Edom. And it also proves that Esau Edom is not ready to receive the punishment prophetically for the actions that he has done, okay, to the nation of Israel, all right, to our planet, okay, in the offenses that he is enacted against our God and our Savior. So, I just want to do a real quick lesson. All right, this is the time that we are living in with all the judgment that's taking place around the world, leading up to major prophecy. You have to understand that within that, okay, when the dust settles from the third biblical world's war, okay, you also have to understand that Esau, Edom, as well as the other nations, the other heathen, the other Gentile nations are going to go into slavery. But this in particular lesson, I want to fixate my intention, okay, or my attention on Esau, Edom. And actually, I'll show you that's actually biblically, okay? So let's go right here. When you go to Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah 34. Let me see real quick. A lot of people, try to be sympathizers for a lot of people try to be sympathizers for Esau, Edom, but that's not going to get him out of the punishment. Okay, so let me get this real quick. I believe it's Ezekiel 34. Isaiah 34 is good too. We'll have to get that as well. Okay, one more chapter. Just came to mind. Give me a second. This is Ezekiel 35:1. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. And if you didn't know, Mount Seir is Esau, Edom. And Esau, Edom is the so-called white man, woman, and child whose father, their lineage goes back to the patriarch Edom. Okay, this is Genesis 36 real quick. I just want to prove the point that Mount Seir goes with Esau, Edom. Okay, right here. Genesis 36:8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau's Edom. All right. So who is Esau, Edom? Esau, Edom is the one that's destroying the earth. The ones that pride themselves with coining themselves white. The ones that pride themselves in saying that they civilized the known world. Okay. Also while destroying the world. Also while holding to this day the true children of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and those scattered abroad according to the diaspora. All right. Those that hold us is Esau, Edom, in his possession, the so-called white man and woman, the standing government, the powers that be, all right, NATO, the EU, the global banker elites, all right, as well as right here in Grand U.S. of Babylon A, okay? So I just want to get on it, I just want to get on this topic. This is getting ready to take place, so we are actually commanded to prophesize against Esau, Edom. We're actually told to prophesize against the government of Esau, Edom. See, the Mount Seir mountain, all right? Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, meaning our attention is on you specifically, because when we bring up the talking point of who led us into slavery, the first thing that average 2/3 Edomites do is they deflect and add in another culprit to the evidence being held against him. And I will say this moving forward, our job is to go out, prophesize, teach, okay, warn and rebuke. But, we don't pride ourselves in just telling just some average losing Edomite that's in America, you know, that what he did specifically. But you have to understand, Edom, that what your fathers have done, you have to pay for that. Okay, what your fathers have done, you have to pay for that, because our fathers had to pay for that too, and then it trickled down to us. So if our fathers, you know, how much more yours? And that's what needs to be understood. And I want to prove that point. All right, I want to prove that point. So we're going to hold this here. And what I want to do is I want to show you this video real quick. Excuse me for my long-winded introduction. Now look at his face. Okay, this is a face of defeat. Okay, this is a face of defeation, man. All right, and this is what Edom has done unto us, has done unto our forefathers, because one thing that they like to use in their deflection was, well, it wasn't you. You see that? So imagine how Esau deflects when it comes to our gripe. If you use that with anybody else in a situation of victimhood, you know, imagine women that are talking about graping, and then this public interviewer comes up and goes, well, you weren't affected by that, so why are you crying about it? So this is one thing you got to understand when it comes to Esau, Edom, as well as other people, is they speak lofty when it comes to oppression. All right, but none of that none of that none of that pomp, none of those dismissals are going to reverse the missiles. I'm sorry, it just came to my mind. I had to say it that way. But none of the dismissals of Esau's responses to what we're telling him is going to stop what has already been written prophetically. So if our forefathers had to go through this, how much more yours? Now let's play this real quick.
He worked hard.
I worked hard. I get up at 4 o'clock and get my breakfast done. Just at dawn of day, I go to the field and we pick cotton.
Mr. and Mrs. Haywood Jenkins of Sharkey County, Mississippi have.
And he could probably be a Benjamite or a Judite, and she could be more than likely a Reubenite. You know, I mean, I'm just speaking for as a man, but as a man, you know, my first thought looking at her, even with facial features, was a Reubenite. Okay, which Reuben is one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. All right, which all the tribes, one way or another, have been, enslaved, beaten, downtrodden, all right, desecrated, damn near annihilated by Esau, Edom, all right?
Between them, picked cotton for over a century.
You hear that? I'm rewinded. I'm sorry. Excuse me for my commentary. You can watch this in full by yourself, but did you hear that? Them collectively have picked cotton for over a century. That's over 100 years. And this is just one couple, okay? You know, Jake talks about a power couple. This is, but we know why this happened. So with knowing why this happened, that's why it's so important to know what's going to happen to who did it to us and what's going to happen to us now that this has happened. That's the $1 million question, okay? People like to talk in circles around this history, but no one ever brings up what should happen or what's going to happen to those that did it and what's going to happen to those that went through it. And we're going to explain it. All right. So I'm going to let it go one more time.
For over a century.
My boss man came along. He says, Ray Jane? I said, sir. I say, when you wash? I said, I washed last night. He said, I don't want you to do that no more. That's my agent, you know. He says, every Friday morning or Friday evening, you wash.
Jeez.
And let all the children stay there with you until you get through. When you get through, then y'all can go back to field and wait. Now, the agent was mean, some of them. Some of them was mean. They want to hook the colored people. And that time, the white man come along. He says, hey, but you ain't in the field yet? He just had started applying. He said, yes, I just not had to eat my dinner. God damn it, you ain't doing a goddamn thing. He says, God damn it, I ought to take this damn stick and frill the hell out you. He said, no, she said, if you frill the hell out of me, goddamn, I frill the hell out of you. It make me feel bad if I was under them, you know, how mean they was to treat us like that.
Which they're probably, this is probably the early times of sharecropping. Okay, this was probably like a testimony from Jake's that recently got freed, and then they they got hit with the lie of like sharecropping, which that whole ordeal was it was a Ponzi scheme too. Okay, so anyways, you saw the video. All right, now what I want to do is go right into this. Okay, now I want to read something. I was reading Lamentations 5 the other night, and this in particular precept came out, which this whole chapter is beautiful, but we're going to go right here. It says Lamentations 5:5, our necks, meaning us as Israelites. See, matter of fact, let's just start at 1. I got to get ready for camp, so let me try to zip through this. But it says, remember, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, what has come upon us. Like now, we ask the Lord to remember us, incline his ear, look down upon us, have mercy upon us, as he does. It says, consider and behold our reproach. Behold, we are yet this day in captivity. Okay, slavery is still legal today. It's just coined under the 13th Amendment, as you now are a slave to the state based on the infraction or crime you committed according to the state that you are housed in. Okay, the each state is a prison house. Each city is a prison house, and it's crime. It goes back to the word, or crime goes back to the infraction of God's law, and that's even in his Declaration of Independence and his Constitution, things of that nature. So we are still in captivity financially, mentally. This is why we're being freed first spiritually. This is why great fear fell upon them, because now in this day and age, all right, in the 21st century, all this information is coming out, and Esau Edom doesn't have a lie to lay upon to just try to disannul what's being told that's getting ready to happen to him for his past actions. This is why they always try to divert and say that wasn't them. Well, now you can't use the Shaggy card no more. Well, it wasn't me. In actuality, to get deeper, it was you in the reincarnation. But even within that, let's just keep going off of if it wasn't me and it wasn't you, what does the Bible say that's going to happen to the children of who it happened to? That's what we're going to talk about today. All right. And it says, our inheritance is turned to strangers. This is why you got Esau, Edom, and a bastard in Ashdod, Ezekiel 36:5. So, brothers, you can use this precept right here when you're going into how Amalek is occupying our land. But in the Bible, it refers to him as Idumea. Okay, so our inheritance or our land, like Jeremiah 17 says, we will be discontinued from our inheritance. And then vocab alone, who doesn't bemoan us, speaks lawfully about oppression. Well, he just right there proved our point. We just cut him because he says the inheritance means the land. Well, right here, it says that Israel will be cut off from their inheritance and it will be strangers in our land and our houses to aliens. So that's a cut right there you can use, brothers. Look, we are orphans and fatherless. This is why Romans 9 says the adoption pertains to us. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Right there. We labor and have no rest. She said, I worked hard. And just like us. Okay, this has been a very hellish week. Okay. What Jake say? What the hell? This has been a hellish week. All right. Working for Esau, working to be paid bills, subject to payments. Okay. It's hell even unto this day. All right. Even unto this day, we are yet in our captivity. All right. And it's always through Esau, Edom. But even the Edomites today, they actually think that they're going to get away scot-free. And I'm here to tell you that you will fall in the next world's war. And the Babylonian Edomites are going to come back through the lines of the elite when we enslave them after coming down as New Jerusalem, where we will be in captivity no more. No more to this flesh, no more to this mind, okay? No more to this body, no more to being under heathens, all right? So justice is coming. Let's keep going. It says, verse 6, we have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquity. See, we've borne the iniquities of our fathers. But this is why it was told to us in Deuteronomy that there will be consequences that we as a nation would have to deal with. And we as a nation have now accepted the punishment or the consequences for our prophetic disobedience. But the problem we have today, if you will, is there is a very guilty nation that is still in possession of a nation of people that has accepted the consequences of their actions. And now he stands here as if he's not going to be put in any chains or bonds or situations or repercussions for the actions that he's done, even though we have received the consequences that our forefathers have done. See that? So let's keep going. It says Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, speaking to us as Israel, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. I worked hard. You could see it in their face, man. You could see it in Jake's face. You know, I'm just looking to see what else they got in here. Okay, let me go back up. All right, now I gotta give you some spiritual. So we accept our punishment, but also understand this: there is no free will. This is all the Lord's movie. So even though we disobeyed, that was always set up for us to go through this before the glory of the kingdom that's getting ready to come in our generation. Romans 8:20. And then if somebody said, well, if that's what can the creature say? Can the creature say to the creator, why'd you form me? This is the Lord's movie. The problem is Esau Edom is trying not to play his part in the movie, but he has no problem making sure that you play a part according to the image of his movie in Babylon. Dance, nigga, sing, nigga, dribble, nigga, bounce, nigga, rap, nigga, slave, nigga. That's all fine. That's all good. And then he could be boss man. You know, he could be policeman. He could be president man. He could be successful man. He could be family man, but he can't be the guilty man. See that? That's the horns of hypocrisy at its finest. We are going through what it was set up for us to go through, starting with our forefathers. But then now when it comes to you, you don't have to answer for what your forefathers did. So the chosen children got to accept the punishment what their forefathers did, but you don't got to accept the punishment from what your forefathers did. Oh, man. It says, Romans 8:20, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjugated the same in hope. So we have been subject to vanity. We had to go off. We had to go through these certain in particular things for prophecy to be fulfilled. So now Esau, Edom, with his mindset, that's actually an antichrist. Wait, you don't want to go? That's an angle for a Christian. Wait a minute. You talk about suffering. Well, there's other parts in the movie that has to be played out too, that now you're trying to act like that's not your role. Nah, it don't work like that. Look, you think we wanted to go through this? Deuteronomy 28:68. But Yahweh Shemel Shai shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, speaking about America, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you or redeem you out of your servitude. Because even when you go into our law, you were able to also buy a Hebrew servant. Okay, so we weren't going to be bought out of this slavery. All right, we weren't going to be able to have man save us. This is why Yahweh Shai is coming back and not meeting them as a man. So this is why we don't take or hearken to the MLK, these set up leaders that cause us to err, because prophetically, who's going to save us is our Savior, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, so now from there, I just want to make that point. We had to go through this. We had to deal with this. The chosen nation still had to go into slavery even after their Savior came back and rose from the dead and was an acceptable sacrifice for sin. But that's what people don't understand, is the Lord is bound by his word, so prophecy still has to play out. So right there. That right there proves that we're already saved. We just haven't been delivered yet. So we have to endure unto the end to be saved, to also fulfill that part of prophecy within this movie. So now that I got that out the way, I just wanted to walk you down. Okay, we bear the iniquities of our fathers. All right. Here's the warning that we would have to go through this. And then we tell you how we were subjugated to this disobedience. And then we prove that we were brought into Egypt. Hence why you have videos like this or all these talking points. This is always a talking point in America is talking about slavery. Okay. These people. Okay. Look, no one else is making songs called slavery. Slavery is a cult. The time Orlando Jones was fired from American Gods for keeping it too real. Let me see that real quick. I hope they don't clip my video. You know, after and Jake, they'll be like, after everything we've been through, and Esau's still doing what he's doing. I don't think this is the scene I want.
Weapon of control.
Let me see. I want the one where he's on the ship, but I hope they don't take this video down. Let me see. If it
From birth.
oh, this must be a different one. Oh, here we go.
Make most slaves.
Check this out. This is powerful. This is powerful.
Split up
Let's see this real quick.
America.
Here we go.
Shut.
All right, let's let this one play.
Let me paint a picture of what's waiting for you on the shore. You arrive in America.
Babylon.
Land
Oh,
Innovating at scale has always involved risk, but now it's different. As
of opportunity, milk and honey, and guess what? You all get to be slaves. Split up, sold off, and worked to death. The lucky ones get Sunday off to sleep and fuck and make most slaves and all for what? For cotton, indigo, for a fucking purple shirt. The only good news is the tobacco your grandkids are gonna farm for free.
And see, that's why the gospel is for Jake. He said the only good news is something about their grandchildren tobacco for free. This is why the gospel is for Israel, because it's to free to give liberty to the bond and to free the brokenhearted. Okay, this is why the gospel is for Jake. All right, for Israel. People always tell me get it because I did not say how I wanted to say it verbatim. This is Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of the Lord powers upon me because the Lord has anointed me to preach, to prophesy good news or good tidings unto the meek. He has set me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Look at this. Look at it. They're even just giving you a acting portrayal of what we went through. And you mean to tell me this gospel is not for these people? They're bound. Do they not need to be liberated? You see that? Now, I want to continue this. I just don't want them to hit me with a copyright strike. So let me just keep going with the lesson. If you know this, let me put it in for you right here. If you know this, you know. All right. But I really don't want to be hit with a copy strike. So let me just put it here for you. Okay, let's go back. All right. So let's break it. Let's keep going. Okay, we're going to get into Esau, Edom now. So now that we just showed you this scene, so you know they're getting ready to go into slavery. Now let me show you what the Bible says is happening to those that received us in slavery. Revelations 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Now, not everyone has the spiritual ear to hear this, because I was thinking about it while I was putting this lesson together. How many people were going to hear these precepts and they're going to skip over it, not explain it, and just try to go right to Jesus in John 3:16. You have to explain these though. Okay, I understand where you're coming from with this thought process, but you cannot just take this out and then it means who's it going to happen to then? Who's it going to happen to then? You see, we know, but you got to understand the talking points that people try to use when you're bringing out truth. It's called deflection. And we see that with Esau, Edom, majorly. Revelations 13:9, he that leadeth into captivity. Are they not being led into captivity? Okay. Was this not a powerful performance by Orlando? What's his name? Orlando Jones? Who is it? Orlando Jones. Yeah. And we just had Juneteenth. And guess what? At my job, guess what they gave us? Fried fucking chicken. Okay. I'm not lying. They gave us fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, cornbread. Yeah, they did. I ain't lying. Okay, the Lord don't like lying lips. We ain't lying, man. Okay, that's what they gave your ass. That's what they gave us. All right, and a couple niggas to sprinkle around. Let me go back to this hard shit. Look at this. I'm about to wrap this lesson up, but I just want to play this one real quick again. All right.
I work hard. He work hard.
I work hard. I get up at 4 o'clock.
And just like now, how many brothers and sisters, which we're thankful we got a job, and it's not as
You've modernized
chattel. Okay, I'll say it's not as chattel
your data cloud,
as back
but
then,
do you have a
now
modern
the state,
intelligence
when I
cloud
force work
with a
for
familiar
labor,
And get my
is
breakfast
the
done.
change are the bills. You know, the whip is the mental game. Okay, do you know how demonic the world of business in America is? And even so-called white people will tell you that. So how much more if you add a Jake into the realm of success of Babylon? Esau lets you know you're a nigga professionally. Okay, so even though we're out of chattel slavery, we are still treated as cattle, sheeple, okay, and structured as how they would treat farm animals. You know, you got to wake up. You can't be late. Even my job, I'm thankful to have a job. But you know what? Esau, he lets me know he doesn't want me there by the policies that he places around me, you know, where you can't be 3 minutes late. You know, even though your job's done, you got to stay exactly till 6 o'clock. Where's your lunch? Where are you? Email. They're evil, man. They ain't let up. They have not let up. Okay, we are still in captivity.
The dawn of day, I go to the field and we pick cotton.
Mr. and Mrs. Haywood.
Yep. And now today, what's Jake do? He's a cleaner. He's a janitor. He's a porter. All right. He's a maintenance man. You got to go through. You got to pick up. You got to clean up after Esau. You got to cook for Esau. You got to clean Esau. You got to pamper Esau. Still to this day. And the only form of success, for the most part, that Esau gives Jake is for wickedness. Okay, because then Esau say, well, look at Jay-Z. Hey, Snoop, what about the NFL thing? Yeah, but what they don't tell you is all the realms of success for Jake is some kind of idol worship, some kind of devil, satanic worship, Freemasonry, Boule, secret society. Okay, and if you do try to just make an honest living going through the steps he gives you hell even with that. Redlining, certain taxes, certain loans, certain interests. So miss us with these talks or responses to try to say that just because we can buy two, we can sell two, that everything's still okay or still equal. It's far from that. And then he still thinks he's not going to be punished for what he's done.
Jenkins of Shockey County, Mississippi, have, between them, picked cotton for over a century.
My boss man came along. He says, Mary Jane, I said, sir. Says, I say, when you wash? I said, I washed last night. He said, I don't want you to do that no more.
I don't want you to wash. You don't want me to wash my body. You don't want me to wash my body. Oh, and if you don't pay certain bills, you don't have water. You don't pay certain bills, you don't have electricity, which we understand so-called society and everyone's subject to that. But the cruelty that comes with that is the minimum wage he gives you, where he hires you, where he sends you, where he could bust you, where he gives resources for you to taste the so-called American dream too. But what you realize is your dream is actually a nightmare. Okay, now let me keep going. I got to get ready for camp. Revelations 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Yeah, well, you were freed in 1865. And so the KKK started in 1865. The Jim Crow law started in 1865. Mass lynching, hangings, and criminal punishments of death started in 1865, and we're still going through it. This is why grace is so important. This is why the gospel is so important. This is why telling our people who they are is so important, and not just telling them to live by the laws. Letting them know that they have a savior while they're surrounded by snares and traps. He that killeth with the sword, Esau was blessed with the sword, must be killed with the sword. This is still a talking point that people do not accept. Even Jake don't accept it. You have a slew of Jakes that are jumping on the internet trying to defend this man. So you know what I say to you, Jakes? Tell your talking points to them. Tell it to your ancestors. Don't Jake always talk about the ancestors? Tell your ancestors as they're being raped, slaved, whipped, beat, worked, told she can't wash her sweaty body. Tell her, all right? Tell her, because Jake loved the woman, which we love our women, but I'm using this as an emotional point. Tell her that he can still be saved. Tell her.
Agent, he says every Friday morning or Friday evening you wash. And let all the children stay there with you until you get through. When you get through, then y'all can go back to field and wait.
Now tell him.
Was mean, some of them.
Tell that man.
Some of them was mean. They want to hook the colored people.
Tell this man. Tell this broken man that the men that took his wife, hurt her, took his might, okay? Do things that no man, all right, should have to go through. Tell him after all that who did it to him, they can still be saved. Tell him. Shame on you, Jakes, man. Shame on you, evil ass Jakes, to not preach justice. And that's because the Lord ain't dealing with you. Right here. Right here. He that leads you into captivity, he shall go into captivity. He that killed you with the sword, boss man, must be killed with the sword. But here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So now you brothers and sisters, you have to have faith, okay? Now is the time to have faith now more than ever. This is getting ready to come to pass because they want to tell you that they're going to get away scot-free. But what's this mean then? Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. See that? So the Bible actually brings justice. So what are these talking points of everyone can be saved when we have other precepts that let us know what's going to happen or the consequences like we faced is going to happen to those that were used to punish us. Let me keep going. Look, Jeremiah 49:12. For thus saith the Lord, not me, not because I'm black and mad. All right. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. They who was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, because the creature was subject to the vanity, not willingly. This is what happened to us because of the Lord's will. So what else is going to happen according to the Lord's will? Let's keep going. What else is going to happen according to the Lord's will? And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Who's it talking about? Esau. You think you're going to go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. See? This is why you're seeing everything culminate right now. The Bible prophesies that there would be a world war, which would lead to the downfall of one of the major empires for Esau, Edom, being Babylon the Great, being destroyed. Okay, his beast system falling. All right, and then us that were once enslaved coming back in new bodies, changing the twinkle of an eye, to enslave those that once enslaved us, to take back the world, take the world. All right. So guess what, Edom? This is even bigger than you. This is bigger than you. And then when you bring out these things, what do they say? Zechariah 11:5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So you have this mindset that we see prophetically through precepts that they think like. I'll show you one more, but that's not going to change. That's not going to negate what he's got coming for, what they got coming for them. Look, Psalm 73:5, they are not in trouble as other men, speaking about Esau. Neither are they plagued like other men, yet. Therefore, pride compasses them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. See? So they speak wickedly pertaining to the oppression that they've put on us. Okay? Real quick. Jeremiah 15:7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries say, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. So this is the spirit that they have on them. We don't offend, killing you, hurting you, robbing you, spoiling you, poisoning you. We don't offend. You sinned. So they know why we're in this position, but they're not going to stop their offense. This is why the Lord is going to bring them to naught. This is why we don't have to debate you. This is why we don't go out and debate you. We understand the narrative. You just got to understand the narrative of what the movie's at right now. That's all it is. You don't have to get caught up with their debauchery. You don't have to get caught up in their deflections. You don't have to get caught up in their talking points and their political science or their, what do they call it? Scientific racism. You don't have to get caught up in that. That's just the wisdom of the world. That's foolishness with the Most High. We're here to tell you what's getting ready to happen to them. Okay? Now let me go back. It says, Jeremiah 49:12, it says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So Edom has got a lot of hell to pay very, very soon. Okay, so don't let any bug out TikTok Christian. Don't let any Edomite. Oh, and another thing, I found out that you could get paid to talk against Black Hebrew Israelites. Oh, I had looked this up, but the Spirit didn't have me go into it. White man saying we're scared of Black retribution. I looked this up, fear of a Black avenger. Well, that vengeance is coming. That the vengeance is coming through Yahweh Shai. It's coming through prophecy, which I'll end it off on this. What's that? 2 Thessalonians. Let me see. Yeah, this is 2 Thessalonians right here. Look, 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with Yahweh to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you, and to you who are troubled, rest with us, patience and faith, when the Lord Yahweh Shai shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels and flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction, lake of fire, from the third world's war, from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power. See? So we already got the script. We've been given the ability to break down and understand the puzzle of precepts, collectively put it together, which now has become a doctrine, which now we understand, and now we're waiting for these prophecies through precepts to play out. So there's nothing man can do, and they're just men. They're just mere mortals, and this is why the Lord's ultimately going to laugh at them. So I got to get ready for camp. I just wanted to touch on that. Hey, Edom, if our fathers, how much more yours? If our fathers went through this, if this is the legacy right now, so-called Black and brown people, where all you know is your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather had this, done that, and you see the Esau's grandbaby's baby's baby living like this, loving that, and they think they're just going to ride off in the sunset because of the backs and what we have done here, forced labor. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. This is just the Lord's will. So at the end of the day, don't let anyone try to isolate these prophetic precepts and talking points as if this is your emotional rant. No, this is biblical. This is more than even us. This is the will of the Lord that was declared from the beginning. So I pray that this lesson was edifying, and I just want to say, call halal. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect. With that being said, shalom.